Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Phil Risher, and on today's episode, we're diving into how to do outbound sales through digital door knocking with Jimmy Speyer. Thanks so much for joining us today, Jimmy.
Thanks, Phil. Thanks for having me, man.
For sure. So, Jimmy is the founder and CEO of Glass House, which is a sales platform for home service businesses. With over 15 years of experience leading sales, customer success, and marketing teams in fast growing software companies, he's generated over $750 million in value for those firms. Jimmy now helps trades and home service pros grow profitably by getting better leads, smarter outreach, and more reliable revenue. His mission is to empower home service business owners to scale without being constantly at the mercy of expensive ad platforms. Thank you so much, Jimmy. So, Jimmy and I met through one of our clients connected us, and he's like, "Hey, you should meet this guy, Jimmy from Glass House." So I hopped on a call. When he told me what he's doing, I'm like, "Dude, you got to come on the show and talk about this because getting out of the expensive app platforms and at the mercy of the Google gods is probably the number one thing, and things are changing." So you did all this cool stuff. Can you tell me how you got to this point with like what you're building now?
Yeah, and look before I do that real fast. Like, I think that's a perfect statement. I was on with one of our sales team members today, talking to a home service franchise, and they said, she said, "How do you get all these leads?" And they walked through all. We use Angie, we use LSA, we use Meta, we use. He named all of them. She goes, "Oh, so you must like those?" He's like, "No, I hate them."
Yes.
And she's like, "Oh, okay." And I said, "No, no, you have to understand. The only person who ever liked Angie's list was named Angie. Like that was where the list stopped." So yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. Is how do we fix this for everybody? But I'm sorry, what was your first question, Phil?
Yeah. So how did you? So you're doing all this tech stuff, marketing stuff. But like, how
Mhm.
did you get? How did you get here to do this for home service businesses?
So I spent 15 years in software tech sales, scaling, helping scale three different businesses as a CRO and a VP of sales. And one of those was in the hospitality space. It was restaurants, and I really liked that. It was probably my favorite one. And I wanted to start my own home software company, and I didn't know where I wanted to be, and I didn't want to go back to restaurants. I'd done some other stuff subsequently, much more boring things, and I was looking around for a space that would kind of like sound like a place I wanted to be. And I've long story, but for two, like kind of found my way to home services. And I was like, oh, this is really cool. Like this is a service industry, but it is not like a restaurant where you have to stand still. Like it goes out in the world, and it had a really lot of cool similarities. And so I ended up buying a home service business after I got into it. My wife operates that business. It's a window washing franchise, Pink's window washing franchise. Go Pinks! And I just really fell in love with it. It was just like it's a lot of small and medium sized businesses, and that's who I really care about. I don't care about the Fortune 50 at all, and so it met all my needs. I just thought it was super cool.
Yeah, I think part of that story in there is you built this software that you can actually like rate your customers and uh, for home service business. When I was in the trades, it was like, oh, we got to rate this customer bad so no one else works for
Yeah.
them and this whole thing. And there's a hard market for that, but you ended up stumbling into this. Okay, well, everyone is at the mercy of this Angie, Meta, Google ads platform, and there's never any real cold outreach that can happen aside from mailers, maybe, or something like that, or like traditional door knocking. And I think
Mhm.
you asked the question, which was like, well, why can't we do this digitally via email and text? And that kind of how it got to this that point.
Yeah, you tell the story better than I do, Phil. So, um, the first idea when we got here was like, oh, we should build a marketplace where home service businesses will review the customer. Like everyone's had this idea. If you own a home service business, you're listening to this, you've had
Yes.
this thought. You're like, you get a bad review, you're like, well, I'm gonna review them, but there isn't a way to do that.
Yeah.
So that was the idea. And we built that. I built that software and we built it. We tried to sign some people up. And it turns out that people won't actually use that. If at best it's like a feature, but it takes too much time. It takes too long to get the reviews. People don't want to review the consumer. It's people are afraid to say what they really think. But the problem was still there. The problem was people were saying like, I either have the wrong kinds of customers or I need more good customers. And what we said was after we built this thing like, almost 2 years ago, like, you know what? We haven't earned the right to tell people to say no. And in fact, people don't want to say no. They want to say yes. They just want to find the right people to say yes to.
That's right.
And so when I thought about that from that perspective, and I'd spent way more time into it, I was way past the I'm just some. sales guy from tech who thinks he can help. It's like, okay, now I'm here. I'm working with you.
You own a home
That's when
service
we
business, so
I
you
own a home
know.
service business now. We're like, okay, I get this. My wife's sitting there saying, I'm not leaving bad reviews on
Yeah.
consumers. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. So I said, but if we could solve this other problem, like if we could take that same concept, but point it at, let's get more good ones. Let's get
Mm,
really, really targeted outreach. Let's figure out who our good buyers are and then go right to them. And then you're right. The question was, well, how do you do that today? Like, how do you go get in front of the neighbors of your best customers?
mm.
Like all the answers were bad. Like all the answers were door hangers or yard signs or word of mouth. All the answers didn't make a lot of sense to me when you have just ways to digitally do this stuff nowadays.
Yeah. So what you ended up building, from what I understand, and maybe it's not the full context, but you can basically go on a map, build a circle around a specific area, filter it down based off of the homes or something like that, and then you can text and email these people that you don't know them, but somehow it goes out and finds their email and phone number information and texts and emails them some type of like an offer. We're going to be in your area or something like that.
Yeah, that's in essence. And like if you think about doing neighborhood level, you're starting to make this outreach really hyper targeted, right? So, when you think about going viral, everybody wants that scenario. We all want that scenario where you get one great customer neighborhood and their neighbors and their neighbors, and they tell two friends and they two friends, and like the screens just keep splitting in half. And we all want that experience, but it's really hard to create, and it's really hard for you to do much to create it short of physical effort, knocking on doors, which some neighborhoods can't do that in, especially the nice ones. It's really time consuming. It doesn't scale very well, right? So as soon as you get past kind of you and one or two other employees, it's real hard to do that. And so, yeah, what we said was, well, let's make it easy. Let's build a tool where if you're working in Phil's house, we want to get in touch with the closest 50 or 150 or 350 houses and have a compelling offer. Just introduce ourselves at the very least. Hey, we're here. We can help.
And
That
so,
was the whole idea.
yeah, so you build this map around it and you scrape this stuff and then you reach out to them with something. uh, like, is that legal? Like, how do you, like, because people listening to this are like, okay, well, how do I just text these people or email these people? Like, what?
Yes, that's actually the number one question we get is
That,
like, how are you doing this? First,
yeah,
like they say, how
exactly.
are you doing this? Isn't like, how is this possible to do this? Like, is this
Yes,
allowed?
exactly.
Yes, 100% it's allowed. So we have compliance built into our platform. We've went through and it took 2 years to get here. So it took 2 years to get to this point. So 2 years of work goes into making this possible. And that's still probably just a drop in the bucket of all the things that we hope to do. But yes, it's legal. You have to have structures in place. You have to respect do not call lists. You have to respect time of day delivery. You have to make sure you scrub that list. You have to make sure that you have after opt out and that there's all this different layers. And that's where, technology can't really wash your windows, like not well, but it
Right.
can facilitate outreach. It can do a lot of the stuff and like, AI and all that stuff that we bake into the product to make it easy and make it compliant. That's where technology can really help home service business.
Yeah. So can you give us an example of like maybe how this would look? I mean, it could be for your business. You could be for your business or some other like HVAC or plumbing, electrical, like any, like, yeah, what you would
Yeah, I'll
use.
give you my business. So we own Pigs Window Washing, Brentwood, Franklin, Nashville, Tennessee. That's where I live. And so every time we do an estimate, every time we get a appointment to just come by and say, estimate the job, we reach out to the immediate neighbor area, and I mean like about 150 houses. And so that means that each of those neighbors, the ones we can get in touch with, by the way, people are on the do not call list, that's fine, is going to get tapped on the shoulder, text message. So we'll say we're coming out on Thursday. So on Tuesday, everybody who can is getting a text message. They're also getting a series of probably 1, 2 to 4 emails from us over the course of that week and next week. That'll drip out.
Yeah.
Now they're seeing our brand a couple of times this week. They're seeing our brand a couple of times next week. They got a text message as a direct contact. Think of the email as, and you could really think of email marketing this way, regardless of how you do it or what you used to do it. Think of it like the Air Force. It's like way air cover. It's like, hey, look at this big, like kind of carpet bombing the whole situation. And then texting is like the Navy SEALs. Like it's like super targeted because it's a 90+% view rate. If you text people, they will see it.
Yes.
If you email them, you're gonna have to email them a couple of times. Now we do some really cool stuff that helps you make sure you get like a 50 to 60 to 70% open rate on your emails, which is
Okay.
awesome, right? So that helps. But really now what we're trying to say is I want to get those neighbors around to know who we are, because if the house that I'm going to meets my ideal customer profile or ideal avatar, then the neighbors probably do too. Because the
Yeah.
houses were built at the same time, they experienced weather at the same time, they're the same size, same age, same everything, really. And
Hmm.
so, whether you're selling HVAC or window washing or pest control or lawn care or garage doors, I really don't care what it is. The homes are probably in need of the same services around the same time. The thing that I found super interesting in getting into the space was the way that this works is people market to the home as if the
Hmm.
home is the buyer, because all they can do is mail you something or knock
Right.
on your door. So they think about this property. And we don't market to homes. We market to homeowners.
Yeah.
We just happen to know which home they come with.
Mm.
And then they move around and we keep track of them and do all that cool stuff.
Yeah, so the text would be something like, "Hey, we're going to be in your area on Thursday, doing this. Since we don't have to pay for gas, we're already going to be there. We'll give you $20 off or something like that."
Yeah, we're very specific. Hey, we're in your area. We name the neighborhood or the street. That's super important. So a message would actually say specifically, hey, Phil, this is Jimmy. Actually, it wouldn't be my name. It would be, this is Kelly from Ping's Window Washing in Franklin. And we're going to be working off of Split Log Road next Tuesday. Since we're in the area, we'd love to offer you a $50 discount if we could stop by and earn your business. Please text yes or click on our website to schedule an appointment. And we could just drive them right to our website. They could book on it. It's in my Jobber. That's what we use. It's in
Yeah.
Jobber, and away we go.
Yeah. Okay. And then I'm guessing you have to put like a reply stop to get out of this or something?
Yeah, so they can reply stop or opt out. We also use AI if they just reply like, hey, pound sand, it opts them out automatically. Like, so we're baking all that compliance structure into that. Excuse me. But yeah, that's a like really specific message. And then if they do respond or they click, then the system can automatically follow up with them and like
Yeah.
start trying to book that appointment for you.
Yeah. So from what I'm gathering, there's kind of like two prongs to this. The first one is sync it up with your CRM so that it can be proactive about reaching out to people around you. But then also you could probably do some type of a radius bomb if it's like I'm going to be, I have one random job that's an hour away next week, and I really just need to go and focus on this area and try
I
to
hope
like
that's
scale
a
it out.
really big job, Phil. Why are you driving an hour? That windshield time is killing you, bro. Um, windshield
That's
time
what I'm
is
saying. That's what I'm saying. It's like it might be like one is it windshield time, the route density, right? You got to try to
yeah.
build your
Like if
route
I'm
and see
coming all the way out there, we might as well reach out to everybody because what the heck are we doing out here an hour away?
exactly. Yes.
Yes, it can do that. There's for compliance purposes, we need a human in the loop at all times. So somebody has to like approve and send a yes to the message. That's part of the process. It's baked in. But yeah, you connect it to your FSM or your CRM. The other thing you could do with that is you could use those existing contacts to then go after them with a separate type of reactivation or cross sell campaign. Because
Mm,
we want net new, but if I already have 12 customers in that neighborhood, I can remind them that we're going to be here and hey, it's fall and it's time for your aeration or your overseeding or whatever the thing is, or hey, you haven't had your dryer vents cleaned, I noticed in 6 years, it's time to go.
yeah. Do you ever get customers upset? Like, why are you texting me? Don't do this. God forbid, leave a 1-star review or something like really upset, or is it? How do you kind of screen for that or make sure that it's handled properly?
There's a couple of ways. One, you have to limit the quantity and of the outreach and like how big. Like so, short messages they can't spam people. You can only text them once a month. You can have to limit the amount of email that you can send. You're managing all the opt out. We've never had anybody getting bad reviews off of this
Okay.
in the time we've been doing it, but people do opt out, and then people like some people don't like it. It's less than 1% that opt out. To be fair, it's really low.
Good.
I happen to think that if you just reached out to people with the secret to everlasting life, 1% would opt out. So
Yeah.
like you're never going to make everybody happy. Don't
No.
try.
Yes.
So no, it hasn't been a big problem there. The other thing we actually have baked into the system too is there's some data around it will actually pull in their Google review scores and you can look at that. So you can filter people if they are have a high likelihood of leaving negative scores.
That's a really good
So
point.
this goes
So,
back to that original concept of saying,
yeah.
hey, I want to review the customer. Well, we built into it, it can go and pull their Google reviews, and then you can say, only let me reach out to people who give like 3, 4, and 5 star reviews. The ones and twos, I probably can't make them happy.
Yeah. They're already going to be upset people if they have 21-star reviews on their Google profile. Like, I don't want to work with them anyways. They're probably going to be a pain.
True story, real person. I will not name names, but a lady in Round Rock, Texas has given 91 1-star reviews. I've seen it. It's the only review she gives. And you don't have to work with her, by the way. She'll give you a bad one if she calls you. If she calls you, you're getting a 1-star review.
Yeah. So this would help you dodge that person, presumably, and it kind
So
of goes with
I
your
don't want
first
to talk
answer.
to that person. Yeah, she can.
Yeah.
We just answering that phone call. I'm definitely not outbounding that person. Let me tell you. And that's the thing about outbound, which I brought. That concept was like I got here from tech sales. Why does tech sales help this at all? Helps us understand how to build a software company,
Yeah.
but also it in that industry, it's all outbound. Like we do a ton of it. So we have this really dialed in process and all these tools. And so that same concept bringing it to home services is like, well, if I'm going to go pick my customers now, who am I going to pick? Rich
Mm,
people, obviously, right? So I'm not waiting for them to find me because that's a grab bag of whoever. I'm going and finding the most qualified customers around people I already know and already like in areas I know I want to work, places where I've had success. Like I have a lot more control of the outreach if I'm not just saying advertise to all of Nashville and I hope I get a good one.
yeah, for sure. So right now it's texts, emails. Is there ever going to be like outbound AI calls to these people or something? Because I feel like that's a natural thing.
You could do responses and you could do some AI around like if somebody says, yes, I want to talk to you, then you could follow up
Ah,
with it. You
okay.
can't do a pre recorded or an AI generated cold call unless they've already like come back to you. So we've
Gotcha.
talked about that as like a third step in the process where like
Yeah.
you send them an email, then they get a text. And then if they say, hey, yes, I'd like to talk to somebody, then you could have the AI call them because they've said, I want to talk to somebody.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. What other like inside of your product, like what other cool features are there that's like this unlocks a bunch of revenue for people?
It tracks the engagement on all the outreach. So when you talk about calling,
Mhm.
cold calling is great. It's like people like people still knock doors. It's
Yeah.
hard, it's time consuming. People still make cold calls in this world, and it works. But it's really hard for a home service business to do that at scale effectively
Right.
because the quality of the data is never going to be perfect, and you got to call a lot of people. And so what we found is by tracking the engagement on the outreach. So like, let's say we just emailed 500 people 3 or 4 times this week, and they all get a text, but 30 of them clicked on text messages, like the links on the texts, they clicked on
Yeah.
them and opened up like 2 or 3 emails. The system is automatically pulling them into like a warm contact list and saying, here's the people you should call. Don't call 500, call 30, because
Mm,
anybody can do that. And so
definitely.
it makes calling possible. If you don't have to sift through the 500 to find the 30, you just call them.
Yeah, makes sense. We do something similar where you send out an email newsletter and then you can see who
Mm.
opened the email newsletter. So those would be the people that would probably be interested in the subject line. So then those are
Yep,
the people that you should call. But to your point, it's getting way more distilled down based off of their engagement with the stuff that you've been sending them, which I think that's nice.
correct. Yeah,
Um,
that's a
what
big
have
one.
yeah, what have you seen with like the numbers as far as okay, you mentioned you send out you put 500 people in this bucket. Is it usually like 30% are going to get back to you, or is there or is there a certain percentage of communication, maybe 10%, 1%? I don't know.
Oh man, I wish it was 30%.
Yeah.
But it's more like 1 to 3%,
Okay.
right? So 5 to 15 people are going to be like super engaged. And we measure that at different like heat levels, I would say, because there's interest and there's action, just in a
Okay.
traditional sales process, right? So you'd be like this, they're showing interest. Are they taking an action? Interest is like they opened up your emails, they clicked on something. An action is they responded, yes, I want to
Yes.
quote.
Yeah.
And so the I want to quote people or the I'm clicking it a bunch of times or I'm filling out a form on your website directly from this, that's going to be in that 1%, 0.75, 1% range, right? So our customers are generally, targeting a couple of thousand, 5, 10,000 people a month. So you start adding that up, even 1%, it starts to get pretty nice, right? But the amount of interest is going to be higher. Like people are showing some interest. They might not be interested in buying something right now, but now you have a engaged party. Then we're going to follow up with them again in 3 months, in 6 months. Like you're never going to stop hearing from me in my territory because I have a franchise. So I have a specific geographic area. So
Yeah.
I own those properties to market to, and they're going to hear from me every quarter for the rest of time.
Yes. I love it. So
If they
let's
don't
say
like it, they have to move out of Williamson County. That's the only way they're getting out of it.
or click
Or
stop.
they opt out of my messages, but then I'm just going to find something else to do, actually. That's
Yeah.
fine.
Put a yard sign at their house.
Yeah,
Uh,
for real.
so okay, I think from what I know is that you kind of the way that the pricing works is like you pay on impressions or something like you pick 10,000 people and then you say, okay, I'm gonna get impressions on these people and then hopefully like 1% and then come back. But you can kind of scale up and down with, okay, let's maybe start with like 1,000 people or 2,000 people and then see what happens. Is that kind of the premise of how it works?
Yeah, we sell it actually in 10,000 home buckets. So we basically are like, we try to make it easy to do fairly large chunks. Actually, have
Yeah.
a franchise system here based in Nashville that
Oh,
we work with. They're brand new. And the owner of the franchise system, they own a couple different brands, calls me yesterday. He's like, hey, we just launched today. We already got 30 interested parties in an hour. It's like, that's awesome. I'm super excited. Like,
yeah.
and he goes, we've only burned through like 10% of our monthly allocation of our data that we bought. So I was like, cool. He's like, I could see how we could burn through this way faster. I'm like, yeah, I mean, I told you this is like just a good place to get started. Our
Yeah.
biggest customers reach out to like something like between 100 and 200,000 houses a month.
Wow. Okay. So 100 and 200,000, and
A
if it's
month.
like maybe a month, yeah, 1% of that, I mean, I don't know. I'm not that good at math, but that's like 10, like 1,000 people, something like that, that they would be
Showing
like,
interest where they can
yeah,
call back over the top and
yeah,
then turn that percentage of interested parties into actually booked jobs. And that funnel just goes from targets to interested parties to appointments
yes,
and quotes to actually one business, right? And that's going to vary massively by industry. If you are lawn care and pest
of
control, it's
course.
one thing. If you're roofing, it's another thing. If you're pest waste pickup, which we work with too, it's a different ball of wax.
Yeah, and I think the interesting thing that piqued my interest on this is that 3% of the 100% total addressable market in your area is maybe going to Google and searching for a local service business to work with, and you're capturing them hopefully through SEO or ads, and then they're really bottom of the funnel. What this allows you to do is to go out and like hunt these people down and cold outreach to the other 97% of people that they weren't on your radar, but now they are on your radar. And I think that's the biggest area of opportunity, is that there's this total addressable market that really we only get when they enter into, I'm searching for someone and I need help.
Yeah, there's a whole job for it in tech sales, and it's
Yeah.
called demand generation. There's a
Yeah.
demand gen person. If you roll up in any software company, like show me your demand gen person. Out comes, we have one. His name is Tim. Out comes Tim. He's like, here's all the things I do to generate demand. We identify these targets. We make sure they see our ads. Then we call them. We just did a mailing campaign. So by the way, if anybody wants some winter socks and a hat, hit me up. But we're sending boxes out, you
Yeah.
know,
Love
50,
it.
$60 worth of gear to somebody, like just take a call with us. That's demand gen. That's going to the ideal customer and saying, I would like to talk to you because I believe that I can help you.
Mm.
You weren't looking. I am.
Yeah, I love that. And I think it just flips the script for a lot of home service businesses, and it gives you almost the ammo to go out and scale up this cold outreach system, which has been, obsolete in our industry, which again, I think is really, really cool. So what are some of like the future? I'm sure you're iterating on different things or building, newer things or better things. Is it more inside of the software like UX, UI stuff, or is there new features coming out, or what's kind of on the roadmap?
We have a couple of missions that we believe in terms of like how we approach softwares. Home service businesses aren't in the business of operating, running software. They run a home service business. Our job is to get you out of our software to as much as
Mm,
possible and make it as easy and as fast to use. So, like the big initiative we have going, as we've scaled up our engineering team recently after we did some fundraising, is hire more designers, more engineers to just automate, make it as fast and as easy as possible so that you are just getting the gold. You're just getting the leads ultimately,
mm,
right? With as little intervention as possible. Not none, but as little as we could possibly do. We're also testing out offering additional services in terms of just more help with messaging and A/B testing based on all the data we can now see across our several hundred customers. So we're actually getting into like recommendations on like, here's the best time to send a message, here's the best day, like making it so that the effectiveness of the software isn't yours to guess. We're guiding your hand as you do it.
I love it. I think a lot of technology, even marketing companies, like we have so much data that we could compile and pull it all together and say, no, here's the best practices based on all of this stuff, and then giving it to the tools, which I think is very, very good for you guys. What about like integrations with Jobber, Service Titan, House Call Pro? Like it, it would be nice, it's like it sounds like maybe it pulls some of your data and puts it in there, but there's some steps you got to do, is what you're referring to, like kind of go in and deploy this stuff. But how are those integrations going, or what does that look like?
So we sit on top of almost a dozen FSMs now, Service Titan and Jobber specifically.
Okay.
HCP is on the list.
Cool.
and then a bunch of others. And what we probably will come back to that, I think, at this point by next year, it's almost this year's almost over, is
Yeah.
just deeper integrations so that we can not only create more kind of like triggered automations, but really what we want to be able to do is take some of that job and customer data and slice it and dice it for you so that we can present lookalike audiences, tell you who your best customers really are, so that when you go do that search, like everything we can do to tell you that answer and then connect it automatically for you, on like automatically to your outreach
Yes.
is hugely valuable because now when you're doing that outreach, you're saying, and omit that house and that house and that house because I know that they either aren't a good fit for me or I can't win that job. Or, hey, here's a neighborhood over here you never thought about. They're perfect. These are your people. Like, we suggest you go here.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Like in Service Titan, they have the heat map where you can see the zip codes or the jobs and the actual average ticket. And it would be nice
Yep.
if there was a system that could pull that data, in job or something like that, and like say, hey, here's the companies that you should, or here's the business or the houses that you should reach out to in this zip code based off this data, and like let's do it, and this is going to be your highest average ticket, and then it's just like boom, just runs. Like I love that.
Yep.
I love that. Um, cool. I mean, there's not really any competition that's doing this out here, but what is the biggest like hiccups that holds people back from doing this? Like, what do you guys hear as like objections or that kind of stuff?
Um, Priorities, everybody's busy. It's always one. You're competing with the status quo. Um, we work with a lot of small and medium-sized businesses, so we have to ask for an hour of their time a week to execute a sales process. And
Mhm.
so they have to be able to allocate that time. And that's why I talked about like our job is to get the time out, get the time out, get the time out, and make it as easy as possible. But
Yes.
we like to just say like when somebody's either a no, or if they come and they try it and they say it's not for them, we always want the feedback, tell us why. Our saying is just not yet. Like it's just we're just not ready yet. It's not that we won't be able to help those people. We just aren't ready yet. In the time we've been building, we haven't built enough for that person yet. And we'll either come back to them or we'll make them an offer again in the future that hopefully will be a better fit.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it's just like opening up a whole nother channel of lead flow for you. I mean, it makes sense. Um, I'm curious about like the onboarding timeline of like, okay, you sign up and then is there like a meeting that you have to figure out who your target audience is, ICP, whatever, and then like how do you like build that and deploy it, and what does it take from the business's side to make sure that it happens?
We try to we make it pretty easy. I think it's usually about a week to be completely up and running from start to
Okay.
finish. We're going to ask for like a kickoff call for 15 to 30 minutes. We want to do a full onboarding call for about an hour. At that point, my team's job is on that 1 hour call to launch you. Like you're sending messages, you go. We've had people book appointments on that call, which is
Yeah.
awesome.
Wow. Yeah, I
Not
love it.
everybody, but somebody, and it's super
Yeah.
cool. So they're going to push you. And then we're here with, best practices, messaging. Like we try to make this in a box. Our philosophy around software design is to have a existing version that will work. And then if you want to change it, you can, and we'll help you. Like everything should be configurable, but it shouldn't require customization.
Yeah, and I think
And that makes it fast.
yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. I think the cool thing is that like you built this tool, I have hundreds of home service businesses that use it. You use it on your own business, and it's
Mhm.
like if it's like, hey, I think we should deploy this or try this, or like we've seen this working in this market. It's still in the phase where it can be tactical about deploying things and working with your team in tandem to like getting within a week. You can have a whole nother channel up and running in your business of cold outreach. That's like good. I mean, I think it's pretty good. So I
Yeah,
love
and
it.
we work really closely with our customers. We're still, under the first 500 customers, right? So
Yeah.
that's the other question people ask me like, well, if I'm doing this, what about is everybody in my market doing this? It's just going to be
Mm,
another drowned out
yeah.
version. That's a fair question. It's interesting because the people asking that, I'm like, do you do Google ads? It's like, well,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm like you and everybody else. So obviously, like, you're okay with other people doing the same thing as you. But on top of that, it's under 500 businesses across the country using this. So we were way far away from that problem right now.
Yeah, I agree. And also so many different industries that you can serve. It's like rarely are you going to step on each other's toes. I think it's a blessing and a curse because it's such a cool tool that everyone can use it, but also, it's kind of you're getting rolling with this with a bunch, a couple hundred home service businesses. So it's a good opportunity for people to, hop on a new channel. That's what really intrigued me the most about it was like it's a new channel that we've never had access to as home service businesses before that now we can use. That is pretty cool. That and you all take care of all of the laws and make sure that it's good, which no one wants that burden. So I think
It's
it's cool.
hard. It is. We lawyers get involved. We have things have to get reviewed, right? So I think that's part of the value we can we take that burden off and we make it achievable, which a good software partner should be helping you solve a problem that would be really, really hard or impossible to solve on your own.
Yeah, I agree. Well, Jimmy, this has been great. I think people listening to this, like, if it hasn't perked your ears up about like a whole nother channel to get new leads for your business, it should. I know, this could be thousands of dollars. It could also be hundreds of dollars a month. So, like, I think that it's pretty realistic for businesses to, at least try it out and deploy it in their business. Um, where should people go to like do they set up a demo, or what's the next step for people if they're interested?
Yeah, we're easy to find, glasshouse.biz, and you can book on our calendar right on our website. You can also see a full product like walkthrough video on our
Mhm.
website. And my team usually likes to jump on and give like a 20-30 minute demo, and you leave with an understanding. You're half trained, actually, pricing, the whole thing. We try to make it super easy.
Yeah. Cool. Well, we'll put the links down below, and really appreciate you, Jimmy, coming on and building, a relationship with you and talking about it, and look forward to referring you more business because I think it's a great product. So really good stuff, man. Thank you.
Thank you, Phil. Appreciate it, man.
You got it.